Left myself with a couple of visual options today. Now, this is option number one. This is me. I don't like how the light is reflecting my glasses. That stinks. If I go under here, I don't know. Not that. It's too dark without the light. But I got to wear the glasses today because I'm going to give my eyes a break. As I've outlined many times, I sleep in my contacts like you're not supposed to. And then I let it go for a while until I feel some discomfort. And usually that discomfort comes around bedtime, and I just take them out. I don't even put them in a case. I just throw them out. Like, all right, you guys are tired. We'll move on. I've got boxes and boxes of them. I subscribe to a contact lens service that is excessive, very excessive in its delivery of contact lenses. So I have way too many, and I can use them, especially because I do it as slowly as I do. They're supposed to be daily wear, but they tend to be a couple weekly wear, whatever you would call that. But then I like to give my eyes a rest for a day. But I don't like how it looks, so I think maybe the first time you want to watch me put contacts in my eyes live on the stream. That's gross, right? There are people who would be so disgusted by that. I was just listening to something. They were talking about contacts and how there was. I was listening to Bill Simmons last night as I was going to sleep, and he was talking about how he's had contacts since 1983 or something, and he had to get hypnotized to learn how to stick his fingers in his eyes. I could do that, but then he also said I could do it now as a plane is landing without a mirror or nothing. Just do it, and that's how I am because I've been wearing them for since like 1990. So I could just do that right in front of you. I could just put my fingers in my eyes in front of you. I'm not threatening you. I'm just saying that's an option because I don't like the way the light. There's this little ring light right here that provides just enough, and also when I wear a hat, that takes away from it. So like. If I take off my glasses, watch this. This is cool. Watch this. Look, the light's fine. I don't have a hat on. I don't have glasses on. You don't see a reflection. It's lit perfectly. But I'm only guessing that it's lit perfectly because I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. So I got to put those on. And maybe that's the answer. Maybe this. Now, see, I still see a ring in my eye. I don't want to see a ring in my eye. We go that dark? We could. We could hang this light somewhere else. I don't know. A lot of options. I want to wear the hat. Hold on. Maybe you just get dark face Brad today. Maybe that's the deal. There's still reflections. You can see there's little green lights here. Can you see the green lights in my glasses now? Oh, the glasses are a massive problem for this. I can change the colors. What that? Does that help? No. Go like yellow. I think that's kind of where we were. The hat's the problem. I've got a light up there. If that moved this way. The thing is, maybe I'll hire a new host, and then I'll just produce the show. It'll be called Riter Radio, but it'll just be hosted by some dude named Steve, who I've never met before. You can apply for this position in the chat. You can become the new host of Riter Radio. I'll produce it. I've got all these ideas. I woke up today, and I was like, why don't I have a Christmas scene behind me? So I didn't have time to do a full... integrated, have all this stuff on the screen, but have it snowing or something. But I did have time to do this one, which I think is nice. Try that. We'll switch over here. Now it looks like a more festive version. Not even festive. It's just winter. It's cold out. We got the thing today about the buses being late. One of those, like snowy enough that they send you an email, like, yeah, your kids aren't, but only one of the kids takes the bus, the other two walk anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and he's fine. Nick has a great idea in the chat. The chat, which is now on the screen, that's the other experiment we're going with today. The chat is on the screen. I can't read it right there. That's where I see it. I can't read it there because it's so small, but I can see when something comes in, and that alerts me to look over there where I've got the chat larger. Nick comes in immediately with a great idea. You're hired, Nick. He said if you spray paint the lenses black, it will stop the reflection. That's an excellent point. That's what I like about you guys. Super smart, always contributing, always helping. Contributing to today's show will be our good friend and semi-regular guest. I mean, he's been on 2 or 3 times. Mike O'Brien is our senior Boston correspondent, and there's a big game this weekend. And he's a Patriots fan, and he talks a lot of trash, and he's a stand-up comic. so he's funny. But he strongly believes in Drake May and the Patriots. He strongly believed in Tom Brady and the Patriots for like the 20 years that I've known him. And he was right the whole time. He always used to call the Bills cute. I now call the Patriots cute. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. There's a massive thing. If they lose, it's fine. If the Bills lose, it's fine. But if they win, it's really going to throw a monkey wrench in the way that people have been thinking about that team and the way that division's been locked up for a month. It hasn't been close to locked up. I'm not going to give the whole explanation every single day about why that's not the case, but you'll see. I was listening to Bill Simmons, who is a Patriots fan and is in love with Drake May and is in love with this team this year and Vrabel as a coach and sort of the hard-nosed approach. And I'll be honest, if they're not in the Bills division, I'm into the Patriots. I like their vibe this year. I kind of like Vrabel. I definitely like Drake May. I don't want competition in the division, but, that makes it more fun, too. Just running away with it year after year is, I don't know, it gets old, I would think. I'll ask Mike. If it got old, if it ever got old. He's going to say no. You want to win every year, but having big games is a part of this. For a season that we entered in the first or second week of September saying, can we fast forward to January now, please? Part of that is the assumption that nobody in the division was going to be a challenge. And now the Bills remain in second place in the division with a chance to pull to within a game on Sunday, and then you just need to win one more than the Pats over the course of the rest of it. Even listening to Bill Simmons yesterday, who I think has been pretty dismissive of the Bills many times in the past several years, and is biased in favor of the Patriots, but he's realistic. When he was talking about the playoffs, he very casually mentioned, so it's going to be, if the Patriots win, I think the Bills will be the 5 seed, and the Pats will be either 1 or 2. And if the Bills win on Sunday, the Patriots will probably wind up in the 5 seed if the Bills overtake them over the. So, he very, very much conceded. It's just a guy, I know, just a guy talking. But even from a Patriots fan perspective, this is a big game. You can put the Bills away, or you can let them hang around and try to be as good as them over the last 3 weeks. Because that's all it'll take. If the Bills can win all their games, there's one more Patriots loss. Because they're all conference games, and 2 of them are division games. So that's where you're going to wind up. If the Bills win this week, both teams have 2 division losses. Assuming the Bills don't take another loss. And again, that's just an assumption, but I'm trying to tell you how close they are to controlling their own destiny. They will need to win their games and have the Patriots lose once. Because it's going to kick the conference record. If the Bills beat the Patriots, they'll both have 2 losses in the division. So now the next thing you're worried about is conference record. If the Bills win, they don't add a loss. If the Patriots lose a division game, Bills beat them there. If the Patriots lose to the Ravens, but beat both the Dolphins and the Jets, they each have 2 losses in the division. It kicks over to conference. Bills win that too. So win your games, especially this one. You'll hear a lot going into this about how the Pats can clinch this weekend. But I think it's important to note, and this is kind of a note for the casual fan. This one goes out to, my dad. My dad is like, explain it to me. Tell me what's going on. He doesn't follow everything. He gets his sports stuff through me, so I feel like I have to inform him. But it's a good gauge. He wants the Bills to win. He cares. But he doesn't follow all the, nuances of it. So I'm here to explain it to him and to you. There will be a lot of talk about how the Patriots can clinch the division with a win. That will happen during the game that you're watching on Sunday. And that sort of makes it feel like they're on the verge of clinching it regardless. If it doesn't go their way this week, they'll just get it next week. And it's not that at all. The reason they can clinch this week is because it's like a double game. You can get a win and give the Bills a loss, and that's what allows you to clinch it. So it's 2. We used to call these 4-point games when hockey mattered back in the day. And I want to talk about hockey a little bit. Sabres won in overtime last night. I do want to talk about a little tiny bit of hockey, and it's very high level. A large view of it as opposed to getting into the nitty gritty of, what's going on with Alex Tuck or whatever. It's not that. But this is essentially one of those 4-point games. Down the stretch in hockey, if you win against your rival that you're competing with, the Sabres are playing against Boston, and both of them are fighting for a playoff spot. I know this is all a fantasy, right? Remember the playoffs? Remember competing with teams? You get down the stretch, a win is 2 points for you, but it's also 2 points the other team doesn't get. And that's kind of the case here. So it's unnatural to think about the fact that, yeah, the Patriots clinch the division. It's done if they beat the Bills on Sunday. But if they don't, it's wide open. It's not just one game being played. It's 2. It's a Bills game and a Patriots game. They happen to be on the same day. So it's when we think about like magic number, we don't usually use magic number in football. But if we were using it, that's the importance of this game for the Pats, because they win and give the Bills a third division loss. And now you can't catch them because even if you have the same number of wins, it's going to go to, well, not even division. It's going to go to head-to-head because the Patriots will have beaten the Bills twice. So that's what's hanging out there. The Patriots and their fans have felt the joy of being in the lead in the division since beating the Bills because of the fact that they won the head-to-head. But you didn't win the head-to-head. You won the first game of head-to-head. There are 2. So the Bills win. They cancel that out. That gets rid of that advantage for the Pats. And suddenly it's just, all right, you've got one more win. And if we pull even, we've got you because the tiebreakers are heading that way. So that's how you approach it. Don't get down because, I assume we're getting Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, right, for this game. We usually say that in reverse, play-by-play, then color. I assume we're getting Jim Nantz and Tony Romo for this game. Should I look that up? Today's Wednesday. They probably have it by now, right? NFL announcers this week. Full broadcast assignments from 2 days ago. This would be shocking if it's not the top team, because it certainly is the top game on CBS. Nope. Ian Eagle, J.J. Watt, and Evan Washburn. I don't know why Evan Washburn bothers me, but he does. Where are they sending Nantz and Romo? What game is better than ours? What have they deemed more important? They just, they've got a, what? Oh, Packers at Broncos? Wait. On Fox? Is this even right? This says Packers, Broncos, Fox. That's correct. I don't trust this website. Unless they've got the announcers listed first and then they've got the game. No. All right. So Falcons, Bucks, Prime Video. That's Michaels and Herb Street. Fine. Browns, Bears. Fox, Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnston. Fine. Ravens, Bengals. Yeah, that sounds like Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta. Cardinals, Texans. That's Fox, Chris Myers. Jets, Jags. That's probably a college kid filling in. Tom McCarthy, Ross Tucker, Tiffany Blackman. I don't know who Tom McCarthy is. I love Ross Tucker. Chargers, Chiefs. That's CBS, Kevin Harlan. And then it's, here we go. Bills, Patriots. Yeah, Bills, Patriots, Ian Eagle, J.J. Watt. Commanders at Giants, Fox, Kenny Albert. Raiders, Eagles, Fox, Joe Davis. Packers, Broncos, Fox, Jim Nantz. That can't be right. Unless we're really sharing everything. We're not putting Jim Nantz on Fox. We're going to find a different list. Where's Jim Nantz this weekend? Where's Jim Nantz this week? All right, we'll just try this different article. See if it works. That can't be right, can it? If it is, I want there to be an explanation. Sunday late game. They just have the wrong network. Okay. It's Packers at Broncos, but it's on CBS, and it's Nance and Romo. All right, so we get screwed, I guess. All right, Ian Eagle, they'll be fine. Ian Eagle, J.J. Watt will be our the announcers. Anyway, you'll hear Ian Eagle and J.J. Watt talking a lot about how the Patriots can clinch the game. And I hope they are informed enough, I'm sure they will be, to know that the two choices here are Patriots win and it's over, or Bills win and it's not even close to over. That should be your takeaway here. I'm trying to give you a little thing to think about, a little thing to tell your friends, a little thing to have at your, I'm speaking to my dad, basically. It's your coffee meeting with your friend. They're screwed. Division. They don't get it this week. They'll just get it next. It's not like that. I mean, it can be. It can be where they win and then the Bills lose. That can happen in a separate week. But it's there's a big difference between what happens where they win and a loss this week. And our good friend Mike O'Brien, our senior Boston correspondent, is live on the line to talk about it. Hi, Mike. Do I have you, Mike? Why don't I have Mike? What happened? I just had him. I had missed call. Try again. I'm calling Mike back. We should hear it ring. There we go.
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Brad. I'm a first-time host, long-time wanter to talk to the guy from Boston about this game on Sunday.
Oh, that's me.
How are you? Yeah, sorry I missed your call, man.
No worries.
What's up, Michael Bryan? Here's what I was just talking about, and we'll get into, like, trash talk and all that stuff and what you really think, but I'm trying to make people understand that if the Patriots win this weekend, it is over. They win the division, we're done. But if the Bills win this weekend, it is so not close to over. It feels like, oh, then it'll just happen next week, but it's the fact that it's this double game. I treat it like we call hockey a 4-point game late in the season, where it's you get to win and your opponent loses, so it's double. Like that's why the Pats can clinch this weekend with a win, is because it's like a double game. But if the Bills win it, then it's just, can the Bills be one game better than the Patriots over the last 3 weeks? So this might all wrap up by 4 o'clock on Sunday, and it might be going right down to the wire.
Yeah, you know what's weird, and especially just the vibe, and I think it's just the history of the Patriots being good, even though they haven't been good for 5 years, that people don't really care about the AFC East. I don't really think people care. They do care about the home field advantage for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the actual AFC East championship, like, if you go, first of all, Bills fans too, if you buy an AFC East championship t-shirt or hat, you're a loser, okay? You're a loser. Don't ever buy that shirt, ever, in a million years. You're a loser if you buy that shirt. But, yeah, I mean, I would say it's the game of the year, but right now I'm driving out to Western Mass for the game of the year, and that's the University of Massachusetts basketball team playing Boston College at the Springfield Civic Center tonight. So, yeah, the BC's refused to play UMass for years, and they're finally playing them in the most dangerous city in America, Springfield, Massachusetts, the same arena where Stone Cold beat up The Rock with a pickup truck. So it's a pretty big night. Tickets are going for the Patriots for this game, over $300 for this build, where they've been going for like $100 and less than that. I went to a Chargers game 2 years ago for $11. So we're feeling the Patriots again. And the Patriots Stadium is almost like Buffalo, where it's 40 minutes outside of the city and impossible to get to. But I still think Buffalo Stadium's easier to get to than the Patriots Stadium. But anyways, so no one really wants to go to games in the first place, but everyone wants to go to this game. I feel it's just going to be 65,000 blackout drunk people. I feel like we're going to take it back to the glory days of the old Foxborough Stadium, and it's going to be nuts. Even though it's rich people nuts, it's still it's gonna be a sight. I'm pretty excited for it.
What is the view of the Bills? Like, I know how much it's not even that I hated the Patriots. It's just that it was so frustrating for like 20 years to know that no matter how well things were going and how excited we were, it was and how well the team played. It was going to come down to something. Either we're getting blown out. It's one of those, one out every 4 or 5 was just a massive blowout. But most of the time, the other games were tight, and then the Bills would lose in the last couple minutes. It'd be one final drive, or it would be, an inability to run out the clock, and Vinatieri kicking a field, like all of it. It was just very frustrating. You guys haven't been through the depths of it for the length of time that we were, so I can't imagine you guys harbor the hatred, or that. And I don't mean you specifically, but like the fan base harbors the hatred for, like, we got to take care of this. I'm sick of losing to Josh Allen. It's been going on for a little bit, but it's not quite the same as, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. What is the view of the Bills and Allen from your perspective as a Patriots fan?
I love the Bills, and I love Josh Allen, and I just love everything about Buffalo. And it's weird because the Patriots were so good for so long, but when I was a kid, my hatred for the Dolphins, I would watch Dan Marino burn in Boston Common if there was an option for it. Like, I still to this day hate the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins haven't been good in 30, 40 years. But it's the same thing with everyone in this division has sucked for a long period of time at one point, but the Patriots are good for 20 years. So, like, I don't hate the Jets. I don't hate the Bills. I like, if the Bills or the Jets won, I'd be like, good for you guys. You guys are so cute. I'm so proud of you. Like, that's what I feel, and a lot of us feel about the Bills. No one's like, F those Bills. They're like, oh, good for you guys. Like, you're walking now. Look at that. Do you see them? They're walking. That's how you guys have been for the past 5 years. Like, you put together your first complete sentence, and we're just all proud of you. Like, it's just no one, if the Bills win, no one's like, oh, like, we're not at that level with the Bills, because the Bills have never been that good.
Right.
Even when you were good, the Patriots were so bad, it didn't matter.
Right.
You know?
That's why it took me so long to care about the Patriots, because they were just a non-threat. I'm with you on the Dolphins. I always hated the Dolphins. When the Bills were at their best in the 90s, it was beating the Dolphins, squish the fish. Great when they missed the playoffs. Great when you beat them in the playoffs. They never got a chance. They never had a chance. Marino versus Kelly, he got annihilated. But Marino annihilated everybody else, so it had to be even worse for you. I just didn't like his hair and his gloves and his face.
Hey, I just hated his face. Yeah. I hated his demeanor. I hated his – and then when he became an announcer and he just kept acting like he was God's gift to football and he never won anything.
Yeah.
It's weird. The AFC East is weird because most divisions will have years where, like, everyone is good. Like, the AFC East, it's only one team is good. Like, they might get a second playoff team, but that team is getting crushed in the first round, like, 9 times out of 10. There's the AFC East or whatever with the Cowboys and all them. There'll be times where there's 3 teams in there, and there's other leagues, the whatever the Bengals league is now. There'll be teams with 3 teams in the playoffs. AFC East is just like one team is dominant for like 5+ years, and then there's another team, and then there's another team. It's never so like I don't think there's any big time rivalries. Like, the Patriots rival was the Ravens, and then it was the Colts, even though the Colts were in the AFC East at one point. But it's like, then it was the Chiefs. It's whoever the other good team in the AFC. Right. It's not the Bills. It's not the Jets. It's not the Dolphins. It's whoever the other good team is.
Who do you have to fight in January is the question, right? So that's why here in Buffalo, it's been the Patriots forever, but the only Bills-Patriots game that has happened since Josh Allen was a dominant Bills performance. So we haven't, I won't say we've stopped thinking about the Patriots, but we wake up in, August going, all right, how do you take out the Chiefs this year? And my God, what a relief to watch that team sort of just fade into nothingness. And I love that it's the Bills and the Pats fighting for what I think is I think those are the 2 scariest teams in the playoffs right now. If you look at the 7, and I'm getting a little fear for Houston too because of their defense, but whether the Patriots or Bills get the top spot and get the bye, they're probably sitting at 1-5 or 2-5. And they're 2 of the scariest teams to face, which I think is fun because there is, to a certain extent, I still have a warm and fuzzy feeling for how nice the Patriots were to the Bills back when they were good in the 90s. And, yeah, I didn't like the Brady part, but Brady's gone. And especially, like, when your team wears the red uniforms, like, I feel good about them. I kind of like them. I like May a lot. I like Vrabel as a coach. And I think the way that they are playing, they're legit this year, and I like that.
May's had the same girlfriend since 8th grade, and she goes on TikTok and bakes cookies. Oh, she's the best. Yeah. Everyone loves her, and everyone loves Drake May. Like, Drake May's just one of those people if someone goes, I hate Drake May, it's like, who hurt you? How could you hate this man? He's the most wholesome man in America. Like, it's one of those things, too. I thought about this today. Like, his wife's baking cookies. He's 23, married his middle school sweetheart. It's going to end in an O.J. Simpson situation.
Well,
like, there's something. He's too good. He's too good. He's going to end up going all full Aaron Hernandez and killing someone, I think. I don't know. It's
honestly,
scary how good this man is.
I was going to play it a little softer than murder and go with, I think he's just early in the cycle. Like, this is contract 1. Contract 2 is where you get rid of the high school or middle school girlfriend, in this case, wife, and find yourself a Hollywood actress. That's
Russell Wilson did that. Isn't that what Russell Wilson did?
So
he married his college sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's something there. What is the, like, where does Drake May rank right now? Like, if I ask people who's your favorite athlete and you're in Boston, is he like clear number 1, or are we?
It's clear number 1. Clear number 1. People lose their marbles. He goes to Celtics games. People lose their minds. That's my favorite thing about going to like Celtics games. Like, other games, they'll be showing like these singers you've never heard of, and like, oh, here's this actor you never heard of. Dude, they could show Will Campbell, the lineman, and people will act like Tom Cruise is sitting courtside at the Celtics game. Like, people lose their minds. Like, I just think of like some random, the Red Sox made the playoffs this year. If they showed like Cutter Crawford outside, the pitcher who was on the DL the entire year, they'd lose their minds. Like, people don't care about like famous, unless it's Donnie Wahlberg. No one cares about famous people. It's the funniest thing about Boston.
You guys
it's
like
just
the
a bunch
Wahlbergs?
of you think you're better than me type stuff.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to hear that, because we're a small town. You guys obviously much bigger, much larger on the map.
I don't know how much bigger, boss. Boston as a city isn't that big.
Yeah, but
it's like 600, 7. I mean, I'm a duck boat guy. I should know this. I think it's about 700,000 people.
Oh, that's about Buffalo too. But there's more to it. You've got all the sports. You've got all the colleges. You've got all the history. You've got all the just everything. We're little. We know that we're like, we're hoping to be a B+. Like, we're shooting for a B+ at all times as our city, and we want people to like us. You've been here. I mean, you've lived here. There's like an inferiority complex that's here, as opposed to the superiority complex that is in Boston. That said, it's nice to hear that you guys react. I mean, everything you're describing about how people react to Drake May is exactly how people have been reacting to Josh Allen for 7 of the last 8 years.
My God. I saw Willis McGahee twice in the same day in Buffalo, and once was at a Ray Morgan Flanagan. It was the greatest day of my life. It summed up Buffalo. And he came up to me, then we're at a bar, me and my buddy, and he came up to me and my buddy, and we're like, how was the couch you bought? And we're like, great, how was your lamp? And he said, amazing. Like, I mean, that just sums up Buffalo in a nutshell. It's amazing,
Yeah.
And even like and that's the same thing, the Patriots, they're out in Foxborough. They're not in Boston. So very rarely, like, Brady lived in Brookline where all the rich people live. Edelman lived kind of in Back Bay, but it's still like an hour drive every day. So most of them live out in the burbs, and they'll just be at Star Market, just, getting, like the same time I saw London Fletcher catching his paycheck at a Bank of America in Orchard Park. And I was like, I want to look at that check, like that was it's just like you just see Patriots players. Bruins players living in the North End. I just get sandwiches with Pasternak all the time. Boston's like a small city, and it's like everyone kind of knows everyone. That's what I love about it.
All right, so you guys are pro Wahlberg. 'Cause I've always wondered, like an Affleck. Like, what about these guys that claim to speak for Boston in the public and are sort of accepted as voices of Boston? You said Donnie Wahlberg. You didn't mention Mark. You didn't mention Affleck.
No, don't mention. But Mark left halftime of the Falcons game. He's gone. He's done. He's not one of us anymore.
Okay.
No, Donnie goes to the games. He mostly goes to Celtics games, but Donnie goes to the games. He literally moved his TV show to Boston, so he's out in Boston. Dude, Donnie Wahlberg was filming Boston Blood or whatever it's called now, the new cop show, which is takeoff of his old cop show, whatever. Yeah. It's on CBS.
Right.
Everyone should watch it. I'm sure it's amazing. And but he would just go around and taking selfies with everybody. He was grabbing people's phones. People were like, who is this guy? 20-year-olds have no idea who he is. And then he's just like taking selfies with them, and everyone's just like, all right, sure. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Nobody's
he was
mad
just
at
going
him?
around Boston. You see, for like a month, you just saw Donnie Wahlberg everywhere. It was fantastic.
And nobody's mad at him, because I'm still mad at him for shooting Bruce Willis at the beginning of The Sixth Sense. But
Hey, spoiler alert.
at the beginning, it's the very beginning. It happens very early in the movie. It has no impact on the rest of the film if you haven't seen it. What else is going on with you? What happened? You drive duck boats, or you give tours on duck boats, but there's no duck boating going on this time of year.
No,
so what do
I
you
do nothing. I'm unemployed.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm a reverse teacher. I get the winters off, so I go down to Florida. I'm a good son. I'll see my mom. Like I said, going to UMass to yell at a bunch of kids that got rejected from Notre Dame and just tell everyone what their dad does for a living. And those BC students, they're garbage. Wait, speaking of garbage, you were at that UMass Buffalo game. Did we talk about that?
I don't think so.
Football game?
I don't think I've had you on since then. No.
That was the worst. That was horrible. And the worst is I saw it coming. What's happening to UMass football and UMass athletics is a travesty. And they should be killing everyone in the MAC, and they're not. They're never going to, because UMass doesn't care about sports. It's almost as bad as George Bush not caring about black people. UMass doesn't care about their sports. It's horrible. It's like what happened to their football team is a travesty. In that game against Buffalo, you saw it coming from a mile away. They started acting like they won the Super Bowl. There's 3 minutes left, and they have 3 timeouts. What are you talking about? Like, it was just so dumb. Oh.
When UMass came into the MAC, there was a lot of talk about all the money that was being thrown into it, and my thought wasn't, here they come right now, but it seemed like a couple years down the road, they'd be a team to worry about. They just got back. Obviously, they struggled this year, but there is like a financial commitment that has happened there that maybe will turn things around. We'll get to that in a second. I want to read my texts from you from during that game. I will read as written. I want them to lose. Brad.
This was after the interception.
Yep. I want them to lose. Brad. I'm done with UMass. I'm never going to a football game ever in my life. I said, who can blame you? You said those people get unsportsmanlike when Buffalo has 3 timeouts. I'm a Harvard guy. I wish I went to this game. I would have shot somebody. There are tickets for the last game of the year. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
I was hammered. I went to the Harvard game that day. They're giving out free jerseys at the Harvard game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't have super high hopes for UMass football, but basketball, how are we feeling?
I don't know. I don't know. They have new players every year. I don't know what it's like with other teams in the MAC, but they just leave every year. I don't know. I'm just rooting for strangers. The UMass football, I don't know if Buffalo does this. The UMass football players are going on the Twitter and saying they're entering the transfer portal and saying this like heartfelt thank you thing of like, thank you for my time at UMass. Like, dude, no one cares. Just leave. Like, you guys won no games. No one cares about you. No one, and you made an interception and you acted like you were Malcolm Butler in the Super Bowl with 3 minutes left. Like, come on. Like, these people who, I swear to God, the worst thing about college athletics now is those stupid Instagram, Twitter, I'm entering the portal thing for these players you've never heard of and no one cares about. Dude, just go to another team because you're not playing at this team. And also, you're not playing at a team that sucks. So just go.
Yeah, it's tough to bemoan the loss of a player who contributed to 0-12. UB yesterday got notice that its top receiver, who was awesome and is a local kid and has 1 year left of eligibility, is in the portal. That one sucks. But, the next 6 that come, I'll probably – okay, yeah, I understand. I heard somebody recently saying what we're basically doing here in the landscape of college sports is we're swapping 2s for 2s. So there's a guy who's unhappy because he didn't play enough here, and he's going to go over there thinking the grass is greener. Meanwhile, we're going to get their number 2 who isn't happy there to come over here, and he'll compete, and we'll see if he can be a number 1. And it's also stupid. And I don't know how we fix it. I don't know how any of it ever gets back to anything resembling what college sports used to be. It's very frustrating, but we'll survive it.
Even at the beginning, I was talking to my BFF, Terry Bowden, who was coaching Louisiana Monroe at the time. But he was talking about the transfers and how, sure, he might get someone from Alabama to transfer to Louisiana Monroe. And people are like, oh, this guy was from Alabama. Well, why is he transferring to Louisiana Monroe? Right. That's my biggest thing is, like, with UMass, is they're so bad. If a player wants to go to UMass, I don't want you on my team. Get off my team. Why do you want to be on this team? Like, get out of here. Unless you're, like, from the area. Like, if you're just from California, like, I just want to play D1 sports, then get out of here.
Yeah.
You're not going to be good.
The other ones that I like the Ivy League guys who don't get to play an extra year, so they have a year of eligibility, and now they've got an education, they're intelligent, they're making a decision and going, hey, one more year of football, I'll come to you. So we've had success here with bringing in grad school Ivy League guys. But other than that, all you're getting, like we had a quarterback this year, and I don't want to bash him too much, but at the end of the year, like, man, he really didn't have it, and we really put too much on him. And, it was a year where they thought they could maybe get to the MAC championship game, certainly get to a bowl game. They wind up 5-7, and at the end of the year, you're like, the quarterback wasn't good enough. Where'd the quarterback come from? Well, it was his 7th year of college, and this was his 4th team. And how dedicated is this guy to his sport? And it's not a knock on the individual, but after the fact, you look at it like, well, why did he leave 3 other schools before coming here? And then I trusted him. Why am I going to be your fourth husband?
How much is Buffalo even paying him? Like, there's that North Carolina quarterback got like $2 million on his 2nd or 3rd team, and he lasted 4 games. And you're like, well, why'd you give him this amount of money, you idiots?
Well, the Bulls, after last year, lost their kicker to Texas Tech for like $600,000. By the end of the season, he wasn't even the kicker. He's a backup kicker.
That's crazy. Making $600,000 for a kicker?
For a kicker to not play. For a MAC kicker. They took away our MAC kicker. And his initials were UB.
Your wide receiver that you're losing that was really good. I don't know who he is, but like if he goes to some SEC school or Big Ten school and plays, like good for him. He's trying to make the NFL. Yeah. That's great. But if he just goes to like
Toledo,
James Madison,
right?
You're like, dude, why did you even leave Buffalo then?
Well, we've seen it. We saw it with KJ Osborne was here until his senior year where he transferred to Miami. He had a good year at Miami. He got drafted. He's not on a team right now, but he's been in the league for 5-6 years, and it worked.
Yeah, he was on the Patriots last year. They cut him because he sucked.
He was great here. It was a path to the NFL for him. That said, you can get to the NFL from the MAC, too.
You can get to the NFL from D3. If you're good at Williams College, they'll find you now. It's not the 1980s. Like, you're not going to be gone. Like, people will find you. If you're good, it doesn't matter where you play. They will find you.
All right,
it's like Last of the Mohegans. I will find you.
Let's swing this back to Bills Patriots. What's your level of confidence? And this, I know we go back and forth, but are you planning on the Patriots winning this game? Are you like 50-50? Because I'm at like 50-50 on what's going to happen.
I'm at 50-50. The spread's 1. It's at 50-50. If the Patriots play the way they've been playing, they'll win. And if the Bills play the way they've been playing, by having no defense and just trying to be the last team with the ball, then the Patriots will win that game if it's a shootout. But I don't think it'll be a shootout because the Patriots' defense is pretty good.
Is there any fear
that
this
being said, you guys are dumb and you don't give the ball to James Cook enough, and he should have to touch the ball every single time. That guy's amazing.
You have him on your fantasy team, don't you?
What's that?
You have him on your fantasy team, don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I just watch him all the time, and like I love him. I think I had him on one of my fantasy teams, but that's not why. He just like he runs hard and he gets positive yards all the time, and they just like they'll go quarters without giving him the ball, and you're like, how are you not giving this guy the ball? Give him the ball.
All right. Maybe we might have to talk next week since you're unemployed. You've got room in your schedule. It depends. We'll see how the game goes. If the game is interesting and exciting, we'll have you on next week. And if it's not, we'll wait until it makes more sense.
That sounds amazing. I'm proud of you guys, and I hope the best for you. You guys are all so cute up there in Buffalo.
Thanks, Mike O'Brien. It's great to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
All right.
Bye, Brad.
See ya. Senior Boston correspondent Mike O'Brien checking in as we lead into Bills Patriots on Sunday. Mike's the best. Every time I have him on, like, why don't I have him on more? He brings it 100 miles an hour immediately every single time he's on the show. And then I only think to have him on like every couple months. Stupid. Bob Gaughan is on once a week. He'll be on tomorrow, right? Today's Wednesday, episode 223. I didn't even write that down. I really need to get this printer going. Wednesday, episode 223. We're good. Sorry, I hung up by accident, says Mike. No, you're fine. We were done. I was about to hang up on you anyway. Not hang up on you, but that's how a conversation ends. At the end of a conversation, somebody always hangs up. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. We were done. We're fine. I'm going to take a break because it's almost 11 o'clock here. And then we want to do McMillan I talked about. I got a few different things. This is the part where professionally in radio, you tease what's coming up next. I'm not teasing because I don't know which of the things I'm going to do next. But the Sabres won in overtime yesterday, and that will lead to an NHL problem I have as we continue in just a moment with Riter Radio. It's episode 223. Thanks again to Mike O'Brien, our senior Boston correspondent is what we call him. All right, back to the music that is controlled not by me, but by Spotify. I mean, it's sort of by me. It's the list I made, but it's randomized. I had to skip one song. Leading into the show, I play music, and it brought on the song Monday by Wilco came on. And I like that song, but it's Wednesday. And I play the song Friday by Joe Jackson on Fridays on purpose. I'm not going to play Monday on Wednesday. Just doesn't make sense. I like Wilco, just not that song today. See, I'll prove it.
And Google built in.
After the commercial.
It's the car made for finding the best bagel in Brooklyn.
It's brought to you by Volvo and Wilco.
Volvo EX90
Stick around.
is perfect for New.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior Philly correspondent, Jon Fuller.
That's what we do. That's how it's supposed to sound. Jon Fuller is coming at us live from Vegas. What time is it where you are, John? What time is it there? Where's John? Oh, he dropped off? Oh, come on. All right, we got to call John back. Should I do the whole intro thing again? I could. I don't hear ringing. Why would I not hear ringing? Oh, he's calling me. That's why I don't hear ringing. So I thought I was calling him back, but he was calling me back. That's why it wasn't ringing. Do I have to do the whole intro again?
No, but I'm all of a sudden interested in buying a Volvo for some reason.
I cut that off, and then I replayed the thing, and I'm like, here's John. And then there was no John. Jon Fuller is coming at us. And here's my opening joke. I said, Jon Fuller is coming at us live from Vegas. What time is it there, John? Don't you love that? I love doing that with time zones. I hate time zones. They confuse me.
Well, it's funny. So it's about, 8:10, right? Or 10 after 8 here a.m. And when you texted me this morning about coming on, and I was still trying to do the math. Like, I think I can do it, but I have to leave for the airport. But I'm trying to, so we made it work. But the time zone's definitely.
It was my least favorite thing. I'm sure you deal with it too. Not that we play a ton of games outside. Well, basketball, I guess, does. Play a ton of games outside of the time zone. But when I was just a producer, a lowly producer back at WBEN, I had a map on the wall in front of my desk with the time zones highlighted and had to do like very serious calculations to make sure I didn't book a guest for when the show wasn't even on, because I would do that. And I feel like West Coast, I get Mountain Time, forget about it. And then the 1 hour thing maybe throws me off the most. Like, I'm always like, wait, Minneapolis, I can't remember. Chicago, can't quite remember. Like, I screw up in the Midwest. But all right, so Vegas.
Well, and then you have.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, but then you have states like Indiana, who I believe have two different time zones within their own state.
Well,
There's some parts of Indiana that are Midwest and some are East.
Right.
And that's insanity,
right.
too.
And some change for daylight savings time and some do not. And I think that's the same with Arizona. Like, I don't know, man. But we got it worked out. We got you on at the right time, and we got you live from Las Vegas. So where are you in Vegas? And explain to the people what you're doing there.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking out the window. I'm on the 14th floor of the Bellagio Hotel, which is an incredible property. It's looking over the Strip here. Pretty cool. But I'm out here because I'm actually leaving today. But last night was the National Football Foundation's awards banquet. And they gave out a bunch of different awards. But the big part of it is the College Football Hall of Fame induction is part of that banquet. So that was a really cool part. But the reason I was here is one of our football players, Red Murdoch, who everybody, hopefully Bulls fans know that name well, one of the best ever played at UB, was a finalist for the Campbell Trophy, which is it's essentially the academic Heisman. So this is the best player who on the field as well as in the classroom and in the community. And every year, I nominate one of our players, and we've never had a finalist ever until this year. Red was our first finalist, so he was one of 16 players from FBS, and then a few from there were like 8 from FBS and 8 from FCS that they brought out to Vegas as finalists and honored them at this awards banquet. Unfortunately, Red wasn't the winner, but still, it was really cool for him to receive that honor and come out. And he got like an $18,000 scholarship. So it was really cool thing for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. But the Hall of Fame, let's talk about the people involved there, and how many of them did you run into, and like what was you went to a dinner, but like what did you get to do hobnobbing? Yeah, so
they had a black tie affair last night, black tie banquet, and so the induction class, they inducted about 20 members last night, and among the big names that people would recognize were Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Michael Vick, Michael Strahan, all the some of like the all-time greats in the sport were there, and we're honored, and we're just kind of mingling around like the reception, like I'm standing next to all these people, and it was just surreal. But the cool thing was, I didn't even realize until when you're in a room with literally 1,500 people, and everybody's kind of wearing a tux, and everybody looks the same. You don't even realize who you're standing next to. And I'm in this reception, and then you go into the dinner, and as part of they announce, one of the things they do, they introduce all the people that are there, like former Hall of Famers that are there, that they come back for the event every year, and they just start rattling off these names and showing these guys that I didn't even know were there, because everybody kind of looks the same at this point, but it's like like John Elway and LeVar Arrington and like Steve Spurrier. It's just all, it was just a who's who of college. That was just, that's just 3 off the top of my head. There were literally, 100 of the biggest names in college football were at this event, and I didn't necessarily talk to them, but it was just kind of cool to be, in the room, and just kind of, it was really neat for me to even be invited to this. Usually, I have to thank our head coach Pete Lembo and Mark Allnut, our athletic director, because they asked me to come out. And how this works is, I'm the one who, I nominated Red. So there's a lot of work that kind of goes into it. I nominate one of our players every single year. I always try to nominate our guys for awards, just because I think it's important. Sure. And then most of the time, unfortunately, being a group of 5 program, we don't win, because it's always, it seems to be the Power 4 programs that win. But it was great that Red got this far, and it was really cool that they invited me to be a part of this ceremony.
Well, doing what you do for as long as you've done it, and same with me, like things I've done, there are so many. Like, if we just sat around and made a list of the events we've been to and the things we've been around and the people we've met and the people we've spoken with and all that stuff, it's absolutely crazy. But some of them really stand out. And like for me, when I covered a Joe Macy fight in Vegas, like everyone goes to Vegas. Like if you have the College Football Hall of Fame induction class and you hold it in Toledo, you're not getting the people. But when it's Vegas, the people show up. So like the way you're describing the people being in the room is how I felt at the Macy fight. And Macy was on the undercard. It was Sugar Shane Mosley and Winky Wright were fighting for a title. But just looking, and like there's Barry Bonds and there's Robert De Niro and there's Shaquille O'Neal, and I didn't talk to any of them, but I don't care at all. I don't need to talk to them. What are we doing here? What am I doing in this room? You say black tie, that's crazy too. Did you own a tux, or did you rent one? What did you do?
I do not. I rented one. I haven't had to rent a tux since my prom. Even when I when I got married, I just bought like a black suit and wore that. So it's like I had to go and rent a tux, and it was pretty neat.
That's okay. And did Red have to rent a tux? What was the deal there?
Oh yeah. You had to wear So he rented a tux. He had it. Everybody there. You had to have a tux to get into this thing. So
what is the most mind-blowing name? You didn't have to talk to him or necessarily even shake a hand, but like who blew your mind? I can't believe I was standing this close to this guy at this time. And then also the follow-up to that, how does this compare to your experience when you went with Khalil Mack to get drafted fifth overall at Radio City Music Hall, which is where I assume it was?
Yeah, so the Khalil thing, I'll get back to that. But the interesting thing, there were so many that I don't know if my mind was necessarily blown, but it was just people all over. Like, you had your players, but then with Urban Meyer going in and Nick Saban going in, you had all the ESPN personalities, which don't really blow my mind because I meet a lot of these guys.
Sure.
But like I walked in next to Gus Johnson, who I don't know. I think Gus Johnson's kind of cool. I mean, I know he probably is like a buffoon, but I love Gus Johnson calling games. I love him being over the top like that. I'm walking in next to him, all the whole Fox crew was there, obviously with Strahan going in as well, but and Urban Meyer, but like Brady Quinn is there, and then you got the ESPN crew, Reese Davis, and all those guys were there, so that was cool. I'm trying to think of honestly, there were so many that there were a few that I was just, when they introduced them, I was like, oh wow, that was I honestly can't think off the top of my head.
That's all right.
Because there were so many. But getting to the Khalil thing, and I've been at UB for 24 years, and still the Khalil getting drafted is the coolest event I've ever been to. I mean, that was being able to go to Radio City Music Hall, hearing a UB player's name announced as the 5th overall pick, which had never happened obviously before then, and likely will never happen after now. We just kind of the landscape of college football. It was the neatest thing. And I'll never forget that day, because he gets drafted, and then the way it works is a player gets drafted, and then you kind of walk down the Radio City Music Hall is an old theater. So you kind of have to either walk through kind of the bowels of the building to get to where the interviews are, the media area where they get interviewed immediately after being drafted. And I remember walking with him after he gets drafted. We kind of walk down, and we're walking down this back hallway, and this door opens, and out of the blue, it's Drake. Like, Drake just pops out of it was I don't even know what it was, like a kitchen, a closet. I have no idea where this guy came from. And he gives Khalil this big hug. And I'm like, what is going on right now? It was the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen. And then we just keep walking, and then we walked past Barry Sanders, because Barry Sanders was, I think he was going to do the Lions pick, or he was going to go on stage soon. So he was waiting to go on stage. So there's Barry Sanders. And that's still the most surreal day of my life. And it was really neat. But this was a pretty close second, just kind of being in a room with all those people. You know what?
The way you're describing this, it also reminds me of the other thing that I went to that was like this. I was in New Orleans for Super Bowl week in 2002. And this is, we didn't all have cell phones at the time. I didn't even have one with me on the trip. So I didn't own one. I didn't get one from work, nothing. I just had no phone. So I wasn't walking around with a camera. And I don't want autographs, but I decided to do a handshake tour of Bourbon Street. I was there by myself. And I took a cab from my hotel to the corner of Bourbon and whatever that is, Canal, I think. And, or Decatur. I don't know, whatever, at the end. And I was like, all right, I'm going to look for some celebrities. And I got out of the car, and 8 feet from me was Terrell Davis. I'm like, this is going to work out great. So I just got out like, right. TD. He's like, what's up, man? So I shook hands with TD and then proceeded to walk down Bourbon Street, chasing Lynn Swann and Tony Siragusa and all these people. But it's the same type of thing. It's like, who isn't here? And that's the thing, too, with Vegas. And I think it probably applies to New Orleans. It applies to New York City for sure. It applies to L.A. If you're there and you see somebody and you're like, hey, that looks like Alec Baldwin. It's Alec Baldwin. Unlike right. If you're in Buffalo and you think, hey, is that Bruce Willis? No, it's not Bruce Willis walking down Delaware Avenue. But if you're in Vegas and you think, hey, was that Helen Hunt? Yeah, it was Helen Hunt. It's awesome. All right, where do you want to go next? You want to talk about your Eagles? Because you're feeling...
Yeah, they're completely imploding, and it's awful. And I know I'm. Look, they're 8-5. They're coming off a Super Bowl win. I know I'm not going to get any pity or, tears from Buffalo fans, but I will say it's a frustrating season. Obviously, they were 8-2 at one point. Have lost 3 in a row. Their offense is just non-existent right now, and it's similar to the Bills in the sense that everybody in Philadelphia hates Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator. And in fact, I don't know if there's a team in the NFL that anybody likes their offensive coordinator. I feel like everybody always hates the offensive coordinator, but he is a mess, and the play calling is a disaster. I mean, they still almost beat the Chargers, which would have been a good win, but they just turned the ball over too many times. But the difference between the Eagles and the Bills is the Eagles don't have Josh Allen. I mean, Jalen Hurts, very good quarterback, has had a bad couple games, kind of going through a rough stretch, but they are a mess right now, and it's very similar to their 2023 season when they started out 10-1. And they got that 10th win, as you know, against the Bills in that crazy overtime game.
I didn't like that game.
Yeah, yeah. But then proceeded to lose 5 of the last 6 after that, and got blown out by the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs. And I have a feeling they're kind of on that same road right now. I mean, they're scheduled a little bit easier now because they play the Raiders this week. They have 2 with the Commanders, and obviously the Bills in between there. But so they'll hopefully get a couple more wins. But they're just a mess for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I mean, everybody's pointing the finger at the play calling and the offense right now, but it's a frustrating time. And go ahead.
You called Jalen Hurts, I don't know if it was the most polarizing sports figure in Philadelphia or in Philadelphia in a long time or in Eagles history or so. What was the point? And explain that to me. What are people thinking and saying? Because the other day, my kids are asking me, like, who are the best quarterbacks? You know, and we're talking about how Mahomes does seem to be on a bit of a downturn, but you still have to count him. You know, if you were starting a team right now, for sure I would go with Allen. I know he's not the youngest there is. There could be a case made for Drake May, or there could be, whatever. But to me, like right in the next tier after the Allen, Mahomes, Burrow kind of Herbert group, the next one I mentioned was Hurts. And then the next thing you know, I'm getting a text like, hey, you just turned the ball over twice on one play and 5 times in a game. So, I mean, I'm even polarized, but I interrupted your answer to just give my own little opinion there. And I apologize. That's what I do.
No, that's totally fine. He is just, I mean, I love Jalen Hurts. And the guy won the Eagles a Super Bowl last year. Should have won them one 2 years ago in a phenomenal game. This turnover bug he's had these last couple games is unlike him. I mean, heading into that game, I think he had 19 touchdowns and 1 interception on the season. So he does a good job of taking care of the ball. I think the issue with him is, unlike Allen, like he just doesn't. There's no flash in his game, and there's no. Like you're never going to see him like ripping his helmet off and screaming and getting the crowd going, kind of like Josh Allen does. He's just very he just keeps his head down and goes about his business, which is fine when you're winning. But when you're losing, I think that's what kind of pisses people off, because just like, come on, man, where's the emotion in this guy? So I think it's whenever he has a bad game. I mean, there are people that. I mean, I don't even know if you know. Only Eagles fans know who the Eagles' backup quarterback is, but his name is Tanner McKee, and he's one of these. He's like he played a couple of games last year for when Hurts was injured, and he's like during the preseason, he's like one of those preseason heroes. You know, where he always has these great games, and everybody loves their backup quarterback. And there are people that are like, they gotta bench Hurts and go with Tanner McKee, and I'm like, come on. I mean, I mean, Tanner McKee could be a good quarterback, but I mean, I don't know. He is one of the most polarizing figures, because it's the second he has a bad game, everybody wants him out of here. Nobody can stand him. But I think it's really more because of his personality, and he just sits. I mean, I'm sure you've watched games. You'll see it when the Bills play the Eagles in a couple of weeks, but like he just sits on the bench. There's never emotion. He doesn't really he sits by himself, never talks to anybody, and I think that just bothers people when they're losing and when he's not necessarily playing.
Yeah, I look around the league at other players, and it just reminds me how perfect Josh is, not just as a football player, but as like a personality and an icon of this. When's the last time in Buffalo you heard anybody say a bad thing about Josh Allen? It doesn't exist. Any knock on the team is like, you got to help this guy. It's never like, it will get there eventually. The world will get sick of him at some point. Like we saw it, with Jim Kelly. I remember by the end of his career, people were like, he's got to go. And it's like, okay, but it's going to be 25 years till we get another one. But all right, sure. Yeah. Let's go with Todd Collins, and we'll just push forward. All right, well, that didn't work. Let's just go to the next one. You just keep going to the next, To actually find one, I know it's a massive relief. I know we live in a city built, like the economy is built around Josh Allen at this point. Like, I get that. But every now and then it's nice to appreciate that you've got a good team that has won the Super Bowl fairly recently.
Yes.
Very, very, very recently, in fact. This calendar year, you won a Super Bowl. And it's like, what are we doing at quarterback? This sucks. It's nice to know we're in a calm, peaceful place, and nice to get a reminder. That's why we have a Philly beat reporter, or a Philly correspondent, and a Boston correspondent to remind us what it's like to not be here.
There you go. That's right.
Transfer portal Nick McMillan. I know a couple other names have fallen in there too, but McMillan is the one who, local kid, absolute stud that we've been waiting to see break out, and then he did. And you can't fault him because there is obviously a tremendous opportunity out there to go somewhere bigger and more powerful that pays you more money. Just going in the portal doesn't mean you leave. But I guess sad about it, but not surprised about it to see McMillan added to that list yesterday.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, obviously Nick had a great season for us, and being a local kid too, you root for guys like that, and you hope that they stay. But it's just unfortunately where we are with college football, and he's going to get paid a lot of money, I would assume, and hopefully he doesn't make. I'm hoping he doesn't get paid too much money, because then other guys are going to see that and think they can get money, and also they're going to go in. And I don't think it's the sad part is I think he likes UB. Like, all our guys that are here like playing at UB, and they've had a good experience, and they want to be here. But when they see all these people making all this money, I mean, it's hard to say whether they're going to do that or not. It's hard. It's hard for them. It's hard to excuse them for doing that. And I mean, if I was 20 years old and somebody said, "Yeah, you want to get paid $500,000 to come play football for me?" I'd be like, probably. What if you were
in your early 50s and somebody wanted to do that? I would say probably right now. I would.
Right.
I would. Yeah, I'll go. All right, I'll go to Memphis. I don't care. I'll go wherever. It doesn't matter. Probably wouldn't be Memphis, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. But what these guys don't understand is that you might get paid this money, but the second you stop performing, the coaches, you're not going to get play,
right.
And then coaches are, and especially now, it's like these coaches are constantly recruiting and over-recruiting you. So let's say Nick McMillan goes down the road to Syracuse and has an average okay year, but they're going to be constantly looking for other receivers at Syracuse, and if they find better ones, they're going to get them, and they're going to kick you to the curb. You know what I mean? While you have a good thing here at UB, and we have the ability to, we have some NIL money and have the ability to pay some of our players. Obviously, we don't have it to the level of these Power 4 programs, but you're going to play here, and if your end goal is to play in the NFL,
we can do that.
You're going to get the most tape here. And obviously, we have multiple players out of UB that go and have successful careers in the NFL. But I understand.
Yeah.
I get it.
I get it too.
It's all about the money. I mean, I hate it, but it is what it is.
Well, you're going to get the most tape, but you're also going to get the kind of personal touch where Jon Fuller goes with you to Vegas because you were nominated for an award as opposed to just being a number. That's a big deal to the school when you perform the way that you do. Jon Fuller's going to go with you to the draft when you're Khalil Mack, and that's different than, Upton Belenfont's going to take money and go kick. And congratulations on the massive pile of money you got right there. And I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it, but your ability to keep doing it and keep playing was diminished because by the end of the year, and maybe even at the beginning of the year, he wasn't even really their kicker, but he took the money as opposed to being here, helping the team, getting the push, being in the club, in the family here, and he'd be one of the players you'd be pushing for awards and that sort of thing. So it's different feel. Bottom line, you think about, did it work for KJ Osborne? I don't know. That I don't even think they were getting paid yet at that point. They weren't. So he just went for bigger, better opportunity, and he did 1 year at Miami after spending his previous career with the Bulls, and he got drafted. So it worked, sort of. Do we know that he wouldn't have been drafted had he just been here and had Tyree Jackson stuck around, and that might have been a better route to fame and fortune, big picture NFL fame and fortune. I guess it's tough. Everyone's navigating a whole new landscape, and we're going to be going through this for a while.
Well, right, and then I was actually talking to Red just the other day about this, and because he was offered a lot of money to go to other schools for this past season, and he stayed, and I kind of thanked him. I was like, it's really cool you stayed, and he loves UB, and I told him, I'm like, you staying here, you are now a legend. Like, you're a legend of UB football. Like, if you go to another school and you finish somewhere else, like, you're going to be forgotten. But now, like, no one's ever going to forget Red Murdoch. You come back to town and you're going to be hailed and remembered and cheered. And to me, and again, no one's offering me that kind of money. So I understand, but I don't know. It's kind of cool to be a legend, I would think.
I would think so too. Yep. Yeah, and family circumstances play into it too. Do you come from a family that is just waiting for a payday because you're going to save everyone? Or do you come from a stable family that's doing okay and is like, you know what? Why don't you do what's best for you right now? And I think it'll all work out in the end. It's all different circumstances. There's no way to pinpoint what's right and what's wrong. There are a lot of options out there, and it's frustrating at this particular level to see a guy like that who, I want to have really high hopes for next season. And if they were bringing back all three of these, redshirt juniors that would be redshirt seniors next year, at the receiver position, that'd be awesome. But very strong chance that's not going to happen now. So, oh well. All right, I think I'm done. Is there anything else that we need to discuss? I don't think so. What time are you getting back? What's your deal?
I have a flight here at 11:30 Vegas time.
Direct?
Through Chicago. I'll be
Chicago,
back through Chicago. But flying out here was direct, which is great. So I think it's more important to get out. You want to get out here the fastest. I don't care where I get back. You know what I mean? So I think I get back
home.
8:30 tonight. Yeah.
I got bad news to report. We finished with 0 in trivia last night. We weren't even going to be able to go, but I screwed something up. I wasn't going to, and then it turned out that I had the schedule wrong for basketball. I thought we had a 7 o'clock practice. We did not. So I hustled. I had Zach with me already. We went and picked up Nate. So Zach's the 13-year-old, Nate the 11-year-old, and our team was me, Zach, and Nate. We walk in there. We had missed the first 2 questions. But the question we walked into was Donald Duck's middle name, which I got immediately. Like, as I'm signing up, I'm like, okay, here's the thing. And the answer is B. So we got that one. Fauntleroy, by the way, is Donald Duck's middle name. Fauntleroy.
Did not know that.
The next question was something the kid. Oh, it was about the names of the robbers in Home Alone. So the kids knew that one. And then the double down was AC/DC's Back in Black was their first album following the death of what band member? And all 3 of my kids, or both of the kids and me, knew the answer was Bon Scott. So we started there, and then it just went completely south from there. It was a disaster the rest of the night. We wound up with 0. It was terrible, but it's all right. We survived. It's okay.
That's all right.
All right, we'll see you. We'll see you back here soon. Thank you for your time, John. Enjoy the remaining moments in Vegas.
One thing I do want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Real quick,
I'm trying to let you go because I'll talk to you for another half hour. I'm on till noon.
No. I got to leave here in a couple minutes, but I do. Okay. Can we talk UB men's basketball real quick?
Yes.
Because I don't know if you saw, they won again.
They beat the Retrievers.
Your Retrievers.
My Retrievers. I now have Retrievers. I named my team the Retrievers in Division II Southline basketball this year because I think a dog on a jersey looks cool for little kids.
Yeah, so those who don't know who the Retrievers are, it's UMBC. The Bulls played at UMBC yesterday, a good UMBC team on the road. They were down, I think, 8 with about 2 minutes to go, rallied, won, and they're 9-1. And, it was disappointing this past Saturday, losing to St. Bonaventure, but having a crowd of almost 6,000 there, having the house full again. It just reminded you of the good old days, and I'm hoping that UB basketball is back. I hope people support this team because they're really fun to watch. And it's after these last couple of years have been very frustrating. I know for me, but obviously for all our fans and supporters of the program. But man, they are back, and they're really fun to watch.
I wanted to go to that game, but I couldn't because of our baseball and basketball and all that stuff schedule. But I was driving past basically as the game was letting out. I was driving down Maple, and it was a zoo getting out of there. And I know the Bulls lost, and I know a lot of that crowd is Bona fans, but I don't care. I just want it full and loud, and the band cranking, and T-shirts getting fired, and yelling, and lights, and fire, and all the stuff that comes with the team being competitive, and they're more than competitive right now. And it's funny, you're like 9-1. It's too bad about that one. Well, yeah, that's how winning and losing works. You know, of the 10 games, that's the one you want the most, of course. Like, you could lose any one of the, but so what? Doesn't matter. You know, nothing. Great to have that program back up and running and relevant, and people are at. You know how this is. I'm loosely affiliated with UB. You're locked in, but I can tell when the buzz is building, and it's when people that don't normally talk to me about UB sports, like, hey, what's going on with basketball? And that's been happening a lot over the last month or so. So very exciting, and looking forward to getting out there and jamming that place in, and looking forward to probably having the kids play at halftime again this year, because most years we get to do that, and I get to go coach for 4 minutes or something.
Some of your best coaching.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I always wind up on TV because it's our buddies doing it, and then I get to make videos and send them to the kids. So, yeah, very excited about the whole thing, despite them beating the UMBC Retrievers, or I believe it's pronounced UMBC.
Nice.
All right. Goodbye, John.
All right, that's it. Thank you,
that's it. All right, we'll shut it down. Thank you. There's Jon Fuller. He's our senior Philly correspondent, but today he's our senior Vegas correspondent. I really feel like I know a lot of people. I feel like whenever someone's in Vegas, we should check in with them. You're like, what's going on in Vegas? Right? Who'd you run into? I've never been to Vegas without running into someone, or certainly having some kind of a story. And this is a good one, as John was out there for the NFF Awards thing, which is also the College Football Hall of Fame induction, which also meant all the other College Football Hall of Famers are there. So John was hobnobbing at a black tie event at the Bellagio last night. Now, I will say, he's got the room overlooking the Strip, which for most hotels, that's the good room. But there are a lot of bigger names in town for this college football event than Jon Fuller. We love John. John's our favorite. But, you know, Barry Sanders gets to look out the back at the water, the fountain. The water show at the Bellagio. You get what I'm saying? Anywhere else, if you've got the room overlooking the Strip, you nailed it. But at the Bellagio, I think you want to be in the back overlooking the fountain. No knock on being at the Bellagio for work at a black tie event with, you know, John Elway and Red Murdoch. All the greats. Your Murdochs, your Sanderses, your Elways, your Fullers, your Sabins, your Myers, Urban Meyer was there. Your Lembos. Is Mark Allnut there? I don't remember if you mentioned Mark. Probably. Why would Mark not go to that? Why would Mark not take a trip to... Well, he's busy. Busy guy. Because there was a basketball game last night. Maybe he would stick around. I don't know. I think he mentioned Mark. All right. I'm going to take a timeout and then come back. I want to do the hockey thing. Hockey. Sabres won last night. I don't have full details. I didn't watch the game. I don't watch all the games. I don't watch many of the games. I hardly watch any of the games. But occasionally I'll tune in, and I'm going to play music, and then we'll come back. Oh, no, I screwed up the Spotify thing. Well, maybe I'll just use regular music this time. I'll use my thing, songs that I still have left over. Because I messed up the Spotify window because it was playing a Volvo commercial while I was trying to introduce Jon Fuller. So I was like, and I panicked, and I closed the box. Now I'm going to have to do this whole thing to get it back up there. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go... standard Brad playing music from his computer. All right, stick around. I'm Brad. Thanks to Jon Fuller. It's episode 223 of Riter Radio, brought to you by Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. Stay tuned. And then we'd just be back to the show. That was the plan. It's all right. The stuff in between all gets cut out for the podcast version of the show, available in video form on Spotify and on YouTube when I remember to also upload it there. I'm working on the system. I made the video more festive today. Excuse me. Today, I added the chat on the screen. I don't know if that's helpful to other people. It's helpful to me because it reminds me that it exists, and then I know to look for it. I also found a way to pop out the YouTube chat so I don't have to have the whole YouTube page open. It can be its own thing. I need more monitors. I've only got 3. Thanks to our guests today. Jon Fuller, live from Vegas. Mike O'Brien, live from his trek to Springfield for the UMass basketball game tonight against BC. And he checked in, of course, regarding Bills Patriots, which is coming up and is exciting. Very excited about this game and excited to spend the week reminding people that the Bills are right in this with a win. With a loss, yeah, the Patriots get the division. And the Bills are right in the thick of the playoff thing, and it would take a massive collapse for the Bills to miss the playoffs. But it takes a win and then some more wins and a Patriots loss to be the 2 seed or maybe the 1 seed. What's Denver have left? Denver's currently 1 at 11-2 with the Patriots. Everything I talk about here assumes a Bills victory. I'm not guaranteeing it, but we know what happens if the Patriots win. If the Patriots win, they get the division. They'll wind up with the 1 or the 2 seed. And then the Bills will likely wind up with the 5, but it could be the 6 or 7. What do the Broncos have left on their schedule? Denver Broncos remaining schedule. And I feel like I looked this up yesterday, but it's worth doing again. Okay. They've got the Packers this week. We already talked about that one. That's the Jim Nantz game on CBS. 4:25 kickoff there. Packers at Broncos. The following week, the Broncos are home against the Jaguars, who have also been really good. Then the Broncos are at the Chiefs, who are still the Chiefs. It seems as though they won't be in the playoffs. Seems very likely they won't be in the playoffs. But if I'm looking for a Broncos loss, going to Arrowhead at night on Christmas night sounds like a good place for that. You know, especially in a Chiefs season where maybe at that point, going into week 17, the second last week of the season, at that point the Chiefs might be out of it and have the only thing they have to play for is, well, let's not let our stupid rivals win here. And, you know, I would trust them to get the job done for me. You want a spoiler? How about a Chiefs team that's missing the playoffs for the first time in an eternity, going against a division rival on Christmas night at Arrowhead? Like my chances there. And then the Chargers are at the Broncos to close things up January 4th. You're going to need 2 losses in there to keep the 1 seed in play. The 1 seed is in play for the Bills. The division goes away if they lose, but if they win, we're going to be looking at a whole world of possibilities. And if do we expect the Broncos to definitely beat the Packers at home? I don't. So we could have a real good Sunday. The Bills play at 1, and then if the Bills win, and this is, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's like this. If the Bills win, I want to watch everything else that happens in the NFL that day. If the Bills lose, I just turn it off and do something else. If the Bills beat the Patriots, the next thing on television is Packers at Broncos. And suddenly you're thinking about that because you're thinking about, hey, if I can overtake New England, I can overtake Denver too. And Denver, I don't think, is as good a team as New England. The pass rush is interesting, but that's not a scary team in the playoffs at all. And it's not super frightening over the course of the rest of December and early January either. So might they drop? Might they go 2-2? I mean, is that a 14-win or 15-win Broncos team that we're seeing? I don't think it is. So Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers is a legit 4 games where I could easily see that team losing a couple times. Now, the Packers one is an NFC game, so that might not help, or that won't help with any sort of conference tiebreaker. So you might need to see Denver lose 3 out of 4, which I don't think is crazy, looking at that schedule and looking at that team. 1 seed is probably not going to the Bills. Obviously, the Patriots have a better chance at it than Buffalo. But in our world, the Bills beat the Patriots, then they don't have that chance at it. So it's 2 separate things. Beat the Patriots to put yourself in reach, very easy reach of the AFC East, and then kind of just root against the Broncos. So that's what we're doing now. We're rooting for the Bills. We're rooting against the Patriots, rooting against the Broncos. I don't care about what's going on below the Bills in the standings until further notice. If the Pats win this weekend, well, then we'll shift our focus. But right now, it feels to me like the Bills are in the playoffs. Barring disaster, the Bills are in the playoffs. And it doesn't take that much for them to get in the conversation for the East. And if you're in the conversation for the East, you're in the conversation for the 1 seed. So that's what I'll leave you with regard to that. I do want to mention the hockey thing. Here's what's driving me nuts. As a fan who isn't really a fan who doesn't pay enough attention, I don't watch a ton of the games. I care. I want success. I keep following along, waiting for things to be better. And I know they had just lost 3 in a row, but they win in overtime. It was in overtime, right? Didn't Tuck score? Yeah. They won in overtime last night, 4-3. Scored 33 seconds into overtime. Sabres snapped a 3-game losing streak. If you only kind of sort of pay attention to the Sabres, they're fine. Like, they win half their games, they lose half their games. It's off by a little bit, but they're a 500-ish team. But the NHL standings are the worst. They really have to make it a 3-point win. A game in which a team wins in overtime puts 3 points out into the standings. A game that is decided in regulation puts 2 points out into the standings. How this has not been corrected yet is beyond me. I mean, this has been a problem for how long have we had the shootout? 05? Right? Coming out of the lockout, that's when we got the 4-on-4 overtime and the shootout. How have they not solved this yet? Because what happens is the Sabres will win a couple in a row. Like, let's look through here. All right, loss, win, win. Loss, 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 win. Loss, 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 loss. Win, win, loss, win, win. Loss, loss, win, win. Loss, 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 win. Like, that's a 500-ish team. A little less because in here it doesn't even signify overtime. But the problem ends up being that even when the Sabres go on a run, I still see them at the bottom. I look at their record. This is not about the Sabres. This is just about the math of the NHL. By awarding only 2 points in a regulation game and 3 points overall in a game that goes to overtime or a shootout, I see the Sabres record. They are 12-14-4. My brain still reads that as, I think, about points percentage. So they've played 30 games. They've earned 28 points. It's not going to put you anywhere near the top, but that should be the middle. Should it not? And they are literally in last place in the conference because of these overtime loss points that exist and leap everybody up above where they belong. Tampa, just looking at the Atlantic Division. Tampa's in first, 17-11-2. That sounds like first place. Next team, 18-13. Next team, 16-11-3. 15-11-3. 14-11-4. 14-12-2. 13-12-4. 12-14-4. I think that I probably just did myself a disservice by reading all of those because you just heard it go down, down, down. But 12-14-4 is roughly a 500 record. But 500 is not a thing in the NHL because some games are worth 3 and some games are worth 2. So even if you win a couple of games, you're still, okay, so let's say the Sabres are 14-14-4. That would mean they've earned exactly 1 point per game. Well, 1 point per game isn't half anymore if a bunch of the games count for 3. And it's really messing with things. Because sitting at a roughly 500 number, maybe just don't award anything for overtime. 3-point win is the simplest solution to all of this. But the standings are a mess because 12-14-4 is about 500, and that shouldn't be last place. There should be teams that are winning 70% of their games and teams that are winning 30% of their games, and then the middle. And 12-14-4 is winning 50-ish% of your games. Now, I know it's not because those losses, they're 12-18. That sounds way worse. But you're earning a point anyway. I don't know. It just needs to be a 3-point win. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly. I haven't thought about it in a while. But it's frustrating as a person who, hey, the Sabres seem like they're doing okay. And then I check in on the standings. Like, they're in last. They're in last place in the whole conference. How many teams in the league have fewer points than them? 2? 2. The Canucks have 25 points. The worst team in the league right now has earned 25 points in 30 games. That's not worse than the league bad. And this is all because of the 3-point thing. I'm not going to sit here and build an Excel spreadsheet and calculate what it would be if wins were worth 3, but it would fix a lot of it. If every game should be worth the same number of points. And this comes into play. We think about it more late in the season when it's down the stretch. You're like, all right, they've got to get back into it. You're like, oh, if these two teams are playing each other, just don't go to overtime. Well, why should that matter? Why should it matter if the game is close? Why should that screw the Sabres? You win your game, and you earn 2 points, but then the two teams ahead of you, one wins in overtime, one loses, one gets 2 points, one gets 1 point. Well, why was that game worth 3 when mine was worth 2? And it's screwing it all up. So I don't have a better solution than making wins worth 3, but this is a conversation that's been had since 2005. It's been 20 years. And the league hasn't gotten around to fixing that and straightening it out? That's crazy to me. I know I'm just dropping in on hockey to complain, but make it make sense. Because that doesn't make sense. All right, it's after 12. It's 12:06. And I've got other things on my screen that I want to talk about. I want to mention my shirt. I am talking about hockey while wearing my Briere and Drury. We're so good at hockey from Store 716. Got my sweatshirt. Shout out to Store 716. All right, I have a page on Donnie Wahlberg open. That was interesting to talk to Mike O'Brien and find out that Donnie Wahlberg is a hero in Boston and everyone loves him, whereas Mark Wahlberg left at halftime during the Super Bowl when they trailed 28-3 to Atlanta, and he's now dead to Mike. I don't know that Mike speaks for everyone, but that's what I got. He's my everyman. What else do we have on the screen? Travis Kelce details disappointing play after Chiefs loss in expletive-laced rant. That makes it sound like he's screaming at a podium. He wasn't screaming at a podium. He does a podcast with his brother where it's far more acceptable to launch a profanity-laced rant. You put in all this effing work and hope that it pays off, and right now it's just for whatever effing reason, man, it's little things. I want you to hear this because it's the frustration that I've been sensing on the screen. They're like, maybe this is over. I was talking about this with my wife during the games the other day. Like, she's like, I just want the Chiefs out. I don't want to play them. I'm like, well, they're not good. She's like, yeah, but they always beat us. I'm like, right, when they were good. And they just don't have it anymore, or they don't have it this year. I'm not writing them off like it's done, but it sure sounds like Kelsey's done. And Mahomes certainly is not done. But let's see. How much longer is Andy Reid sticking around? How magical is Mahomes minus Reid? I'm not positive. I don't know. But you can see it fading. And not necessarily forever, but this is not the team that has scared the Bills for the last 7 years. And then to hear Kelsey say these words, it's like, this sounds like a guy who's going to retire. That's what it sounds like. I mean, we'll see. He continues. I feel like I've always had the answers in years past. And this year, I just can't find them. I keep thinking if I show up to work and I put in the work and I fix the issues through my practice habits and through perfecting the game plan and my fundamentals and what I'm being taught and go out there and try and play my ass off for my guys next to me, it's all going to come together like it has in years past. And this year is just not, man. Isn't that great? Isn't that nice? All right. That's why I had that one open. Here's an article from cracked.com saying the comedy fans say the Golden Globe stand-up nominations are a list of the, quote, worst comedians in the world. I looked at that list yesterday. I like Bill Maher sometimes. I don't like him others. He's annoying. He's smarmy. I don't think I'd ever want to hang out with him. But he's pretty good. I wouldn't put him on the worst comedians in the world list. Ricky Gervais is on the list. He's nominated. I'm good with that one, even though I don't remember if I saw that special. Every time I watch him, he ends up being really good. Kevin Hart being in there is crazy to me. It's like, can you imagine looking at the world of comedy and saying the funniest hour is whatever Kevin Hart did? It's just not reading the landscape of the whole thing. All right. Variety lists. All right. Bill Maher, Brett Goldstein. Don't know who that is. Kevin Hart, Kumail Nanjiani, Ricky Gervais. And then it said Sarah, which I'm going to assume is Sarah Silverman. No. I think it was a different Sarah that I don't know. It got cut off, and I had to open up the whole thing. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Sarah Silverman, postmortem. She's funny every time I see her, too. I don't seek her out, but she's good. But they're calling it the worst. What happened? Where'd my article go? Where's my article at? There it is. Ricky Gervais, Bill Maher. Is this a joke? That's not a joke. Those are the two I would say wouldn't be a joke. Is this satire or is this real? Is anyone else seeing this? Yeah, whatever. I don't need to read that. People are critical of the nominations. I did some of that yesterday. I had to click on this one. It's from rockandrollgarage.com. And the headline was, Geddy Lee's opinion on Phil Collins. And I clicked it just in case Geddy Lee said something incendiary for the first time ever. What are the chances that this is Geddy Lee says Phil Collins sucks? Super unlikely. Geddy Lee was influenced by many different artists, but hard rock and prog rock were his biggest inspiration, something that was reflected in the music his band released throughout their career. The biggest and most influential prog rock bands emerged in the UK in the late 60s and the following years, conquered the world with their experimentation. During his career, Geddy has talked about many of those bands and artists. One of them was Phil Collins, who first achieved fame as the drummer of Genesis before becoming a star on his own. What is Geddy Lee's opinion on Phil Collins? He admires him, especially as a drummer. The quote is, in his prime, Phil Collins was one of the greatest rock drummers you could find, so he can do whatever the hell he likes. But with that brilliant and powerful gated drum sound he recorded for In the Air Tonight, he inadvertently set a bad example for imitators to overuse. It was a sign of the times for sure, just like the twangy guitar was back in the day for Speedy West. Every period has a sound that becomes its signature cliche, Geddy Lee said in his autobiography. When the Rush frontman was asked by that metal show in 2015 which drummers he'd like to jam with, he said, Phil Collins played the drums in the early Genesis days. He was one of my heroes. He's one of the guys who would be cool to jam with. All right, so he likes him. All right, that's a story now. What's Geddy Lee think of Phil Collins? Likes him. All right. That's it. That's all I had on my screen. NHL standings. McMillan. All right, one last thing that I wrote down. This is the first thing I wrote down to talk about today, and the last thing I will talk about today, I think. And that is just an observation that I've made. When you're in the car and the phone rings and it goes over, like you're driving and you got the Bluetooth thing hooked up. What is the protocol for, like, how quickly you let the person calling you know that you are not alone in the car and who's with you, and that means to shut up about certain things? Because I feel like if I answer the phone and go, hey, what's up? Just driving here with Carol, then it implies to my wife that the person calling me was about to say something bad about her. And that person wasn't. But I just want the person on the other end to know what they're up against. When you call a person, you might be calling a whole family. You might be calling a whole office. You might be calling a party. You don't know. So I do feel obligated. Like the other day, we were going to talk about something that the kids shouldn't know about. So I answer the phone, and I don't want to make anybody go, hey, are you alone? Because that sounds even worse. Like if you're in the car with your wife and your friend calls, and it's completely innocent, and mostly he means, I'm going to talk about whatever, something Christmas. I'm talking about Santa. I want to talk about Santa. How about that? I want to talk about Santa. Who's in the car? If they ask, it sounds suspicious. They don't say, I want to talk about Santa. They go, are you alone? And if I'm not alone, but I'm with my wife, I go, no, I'm here with my wife. Oh, okay. And then it sounds like the person's hiding something, but they're not. So I have found that, and I think this should be protocol for all people receiving phone calls on a speakerphone in any way, is to immediately announce who is in the car with you or who is in the room with you as you're answering the phone. Hey, how you doing? I'm just driving Nate home from basketball. Oh, all right, cool. Why don't you call me back when you get home? And it's all implied. It's like, yeah, we're going to talk about a thing that he shouldn't hear. But you can do it smoothly if you just announce what you're up to when you answer the phone. And I would like other people to do the same, because I don't want to have to ask the question, hey, are you by yourself? Are you alone? Does anybody follow you here? It sounds like, did anybody follow you here? And it's not. It's just, are we alone? Or is it just you and me talking? Or do I need to be super careful? That's it. That's the last thing. I wrote that down. I wanted to talk about it. That's it. If I started the show with that, it would have been 20 minutes long. But because it's 12:15 and I'm trying to leave, it was a minute and a half long, which is probably better. Maybe I shouldn't start my show with anything, and I should just end with things. And that would keep them more concise and more shareable on YouTube Shorts or whatever we're doing here. All right, that's it for episode 223. Thanks to our guest today, senior Philly correspondent Jon Fuller, live from Vegas. Senior Boston correspondent Mike O'Brien, live from Route 90, probably. I don't know. How do you get from Boston to Springfield? You're going to dip down. It wouldn't be 90. Maybe you take 90 and then cut south. I'm not sure. But he's on his way for UMass BC basketball tonight. Those are our guests. Tomorrow, our primary guest is the Grinder. It's Bob Gaughan. He'll join us right around 11 o'clock, and he will be throwing heat, as he always is. Comes throwing 100 miles an hour every single time, and that's what we love about Bob Gaughan as a weekly guest. Thanks for listening, for commenting, for sharing, for all the stuff. Subscribing, that's a big one. Subscribe. I need more subscribers. And then you have to click the little bell that gives you notifications so that when something posts, it goes to you. I need more of that on YouTube. I need more of that on Spotify. That's what we're looking to do, is grow the subscriber base as you're listening and sharing and liking and doing all the stuff. But subscribing is big. So let's do that. Let's add to those numbers and keep it rolling. Be back with you tomorrow for episode 224 of Riter Radio. Thanks for listening. Bye.